The Judicial Service Association of Sri Lanka, meanwhile, has welcomed the decision of the President to reinstate the 43rd Chief Justice Dr. Shirani Bandaranaike. Issuing a statement, the Executive Committee of the Association notes that the JSA always maintained that the impeachment process which ousted the 43rd Chief Justice was, quote, flawed and obnoxious to independence of the judiciary, unquote. The JSA urges the authorities concerned to strengthen the provisions with regard to the appointment and removal of the apex court judges to guarantee the independence of the judiciary. President Maithripala Sirisena met with the visiting Commonwealth Secretary-General Kamalesh Sharma at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon. During the meeting, Sharma had praised the present government's 100-day program, noting that it also comprised of many of the Commonwealth's principles. The President's media division says that the President had expressed his hope that the Commonwealth would support measures that are taken in the country to expel misunderstandings, foster public trust and overcome post-war challenges.
President Maithripala Sirisena has reiterated the importance of unity in overcoming the challenge of creating a country free of intoxicants. Now, the President made this statement at an event held at Ananda College in Colombo.
The 40th anniversary celebrations of the Sri Nagavihara Kotte Youth Temperance Association were held under the auspices of President Sirisena this morning. The Mahasangha, including Venerable Madhuluwave Sobhirathera, presented a memento to the President at this event.
In 2013, I presented a cabinet paper calling for an amendment to the relevant act because there was insufficient rules and regulations regarding the health warnings on cigarette packets. I remember how much I was reprimanded in cabinet and my cabinet paper was rejected. A strict procedure is being followed in terms of intoxicants in our country at present. We have made preparations to present an amendment to Parliament increasing the size of the warning from 60% to 80%. We have a long way to go still.
U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Nisha Biswal met with senior government officials including President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today.
Biswal, who is on a 3-day official visit to the island, met with the Prime Minister at Temple Trees. Earlier in the day, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State also met with the Minister and Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs.
But we recognize that there is a lot of hard work ahead and some difficult challenges. Sri Lanka can count on the United States to be a partner and a friend in the way forward. Whether it's on rebuilding the economy, on preventing corruption and advancing good governance, and ensuring human rights and democratic participation for all of its citizens.
In the first 30 days of the Sirisena administration, it is indeed a great honor for us to be able to welcome such a high-level official from the United States of America. The Assistant Secretary and I have discussed a range of issues aimed at further strengthening our bilateral relations, and we want to raise the relationship between our two new countries to a new level of cordiality. And I hope to continue this dialogue in Washington next week when I meet the Secretary of State, John Kerry, on the 12th of February.
Minister of Sports Namin Dissanayake says that 6 recommendations have been introduced to regulate Sri Lanka cricket. Now, the minister convened a media briefing today where he commented on the holding of election of office bearers for sports associations.
Members of the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket met with Minister Navin Dissanayake this morning. Speaking during the media briefing, the minister stated that the members had welcomed the 6 recommendations submitted by him. The recommendations noted that all major operational and policy decisions should be made by the Board of Directors, including the President of Sri Lankan Cricket, in keeping with the broadly accepted principles of good governance. The recommendations also included the compilation of a complete financial audit report by employing the services of a Sri Lankan audit firm in order to investigate recent allegations of corruption. As mentioned in the recommendation, the Board of Directors cannot employ those related to them or promote them, nor can they obtain the services of any company they are associated with so as to avoid conflicts of interest. Facilities should be provided in order for the CEO of SLC to carry out his tasks, and he must also be given the opportunity to execute conference of the International Cricket Council. Furthermore, a recommendation was also put forth saying that no member of the board should have direct communications with overseas cricket board individuals, and goes on to note that all such contact and communication should be done via the President's office or on an officially accepted basis. Prioritizing winning the 2015 World Cup was also mentioned in these proposals. The minister had remarked that the election of the office bearers for SLC can only be postponed on the basis of any unique factors surrounding the World Cup. The minister highlighted that steps had been taken to conduct elections for the rest of the associations before the 31st of March, and added that relevant steps to do so will be taken keeping with sports regulations.
There is a difference between our regulations and that of the international community. We have notified the NOC that we need to adhere to the laws made by us, but the NOC does not accept it. Therefore, we need to hold further talks on that. We do not accept the laws made by the international community. We do not accept the international law because it clashes with our sovereignty. They can only hold discussions, but they cannot force us to accept it. Therefore, we need to hold discussions with the Attorney General regarding this.
Journalists also raised questions pertaining to the scheduled ICC World Cup and the broadcasting rights of state television.
As of now, CSN hold the rights, but we are still in the dark about the deal struck by CSN and Star Sports. That is an agreement between those two companies. If CSN has not paid Star Sports has the right to grant the deal to some other media network. The cricket board cannot intervene in that.
The minister also responded when journalists quipped about the recent tax imposed on sports networks.
That is truly a default tax, meaning a tax that is imposed due to pending taxes. Why do they have to be treated any different for not paying taxes?
Appointments were also presented at this event to members of the committee appointed to inquire into fraud and corruption that occurred in the sports sector in the recent past. The sports minister added that a one-member committee would also be appointed to inquire into the allegations levelled by Kumar Sangakkara at SLC officials.
The JVP says that the government must make a policy decision against corrupt officials in the Sri Lanka Cricket Board before the World Cup. The JVP lodged another complaint at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption with regard to discrepancies at SLC.
JVP Politburo member Sunil Handunetti lodged a complaint at the Commission this morning.
We have listed the Secretary of the Cricket Board, Nishantha Ranatunga, as the first respondent in the complaint. He has taken part in several international summits as an executive member whilst holding the post of Secretary of the Board. He was holding a high-ranking post at Mihin Lanka, carrying out numerous deals with the government whilst remaining in his post. He gave broadcasting rights to a private sports channel during his tenure as Secretary. He also held a high-ranking post in this private channel as well. We have filed 25 complaints thus far. The General Secretary Nishantha Ranatunga, who was carrying out monetary transactions, must be held accountable, as well as the former Minister of Sports must be listed as the main respondent of the case for providing him security. Subcommittees belonging to the board must also be held accountable. We would like to state that the government needs to make a policy decision and ask themselves if they will be sending our cricketers to participate in the World Cup while there are corrupt officials seated in these chairs.
The 37th annual Nam Mahaperahera of the Hunupitiya Ganga Rama Viharya in Colombo is currently underway, and Newsfirst History Hispi joins us from the latest from the Perahera.
Thousands of locals and foreigners having flocked in to witness day one of the Nava Mahaperahera getting underway here at the Hunupitiya Ganga Ramya Temple. Now this is happening for the 37th time this year, and tomorrow will be the second and the final day. which is also the day of the Poya. Now, the day's proceedings will be recorded and aired right after the 10 p.m. news bulletin on Sirasa TV. This is Hizrina Hizbi for News First.